Hey guys, welcome to another All Bass Creations Effects tutorials, demos, and review. Today, we just doing a few different bass tips, you know, just kind of giving you guys some things that'll help you along with your playing. So, let's see what we got here. So, basically, when you're working on different things and your bass playing, let's just start with I know a lot of people always ask me about pedal, you know, pedal chain. How do we get the good pedal chain? What order? As you can see, I guess on Facebook, so you guys can see a little bit more. Let's see. Good old Facebook people. Give me 1 second, guys. Getting all the live streams together. So, when you're talking about pedal order, um, for me, I always like to have some sort of true bypass. I have to have a true bypass somewhere, um, just to bypass all of this. So if you're gonna build a big pedal board, you're gonna need something like I have a 3 channel um, switcher, which is pretty much gives me 3 effects loops, and so this whole entire pedal board breaks down into pretty much 3 different effects loops that I can click in and out, and that helps out a lot. Even with them all on, as you can hear, it's not too much of a big deal. Give me 1 second, grab these headphones. It's not too much of a big deal. So, as you can hear, let me see. So I'm just gonna end that one, so I ain't gotta worry about it. But the first thing you want to do is make sure you have a good power supply. Your power supply is a huge part of your pedal board having a clean sound. Now I have my entire pedal board on here, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 pedals in my. I have 19 pedals in my entire effects chain at my house. Um, my pedal board is just 16, just 16. Yeah, I know. But all of these do different things, and I also have some multi effects. I have one, two, three, 4 multi effects units in my chain. So my chain is up to, let's see, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So my pedal chain altogether can be up to 34 effects at a time, which I've never used 34 effects at a time. That's a bit excessive, but um, so of course that sound there is featured with the Ravish sitar there, but so in my first effects loop, well, before the effects loop, you must have a good power supply for all of these. That is very key to have a good power supply, to have a clean signal. Like I said, all of these pedals, all 19 of these pedals are on right now, and here's the rhythm off. First effects loop, second one, third one, and hardly any extra floor noise. And that's because I have good solid cable connections that are soldered, that I custom built all my cables, and I have two power supplies. Now, just the power supplies alone were very expensive. You know, none of them were cheap. Which ones I got on here? I got the True Tone. I think that's the CS12, I believe. And I have the big Dunlop ISO brick with isolated outputs. So, that's how I power my board, my actual board. All that's glued to not glued, but Velcro underneath the board. Power supply. And then the extra 3 pedals I have here on my desk that I use in addition to my studio stuff is all powered by separate power supplies. But yeah, so it's all powered by things I know will be quiet, pretty much. So that's the key. Good power supply, good cable connections, clean signal. Then on top of that, with it having that 3 effects loops, I can take all of those out, and it's really, when I take all of those out, it's really just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pedals in the effects loop until I add in these. So in the first effects loop, I have all my octave pedals, and I also have a Zoom MS60B to color those. All my bass synth type stuff I use for that. Second effects loop, I have all my, I guess, more keyboard type effects like vocoder, sitar, key 9, mel 9, things like that. And then my third section, I have all my filters and one modulation, which is a Leslie emulation. So I have like a Bass Balls MX, bass filter, Electro Harmonics Blurst, and I Stomp, which is set to Leslie. So yeah, then what's always running, or always in the pedal chain, not always running, but is the Eden WTDI. Then I have a Zoom MS50G into a TC Electronics Spectracomp into a Digitech Jamman Solo XT. mouse runs into a Zoom B3, into an Ampeg SGT DI, into a Zoom B6, and then into my computer. So you got a lot of different options with your pedal orders, especially if you're using effects loops. Like I can literally reorder these effects loops if I wanted to, or get something where I could program them and do that on the fly. It really just depends on what your needs are. So, you know, it looks like it is a lot. Now, I will say it's a lot. It has taken me years to understand how to use all this stuff at once or even in a live setting and have it ready to go. My setup has changed tremendously. So don't worry about your setup changing all the time. That is fine. There's nothing wrong with your setup changing all the time. But eventually, what you want to get to is something that you can get familiar with. The reason why I haven't changed this pedal board in about 3 to 4 years, and that's because it's so much stuff. I just need things to be where I know them to be when I'm on stage. I don't want to be fiddling around. Same way when I'm playing bass. I know my bass up and down. I want to know my pedal board and my sounds up and down. I don't want to be trying to scramble and find out how to get to these things. So with pedals like the Key 9 and things like that, if I'm doing a solo gig, they'll already be set up for more of my solo type of sounds, which is not really solo sounds, but it's more so like when I need to play keyboard type sounds or things like that. And then, when I'm playing bass gigs, everything is set up geared towards bass stuff. Like I'm gonna have I like to use on the Key 9. I like to use this mallet. Take this off. So I like to use sounds like that, more on my bass type of stuff. But if I was going to do keyboard, I would use more of, I like that dynamo. Especially mixed with like the Hog 2. Oh man, I didn't mean to move that gas. Sorry about that. So I can get to sounds like that a little bit easier. So it just depends on, I like my board to be basically set up where I can have two different modes where I have to either be doing all bass stuff, or I'm doing a mix of bass stuff, chordal stuff, pads, and then soloing over top of all that stuff, percussion sounds, whatever I might be using for those type of things. So that's very important that you set your pedal board up for what you need, and that may not always be the same for every gig. So you have to keep that in mind when you're putting together a permanent pedal board like this, because I really don't change this much, But yeah, so let's go through a few things here. So as a solo bassist, I like to have this OC5 where I have my poly mode. I can play chords, have an octave up and an octave down. And you can bring that octave up some more. So as you can see, that allows you to have like that chordal aspect without that bottom getting in the way. So I like to use my Hog 2 either for like synth bass type stuff or more of that chordal type of stuff I just played. And of course the poly synth, I have that set up straight up for synth bass stuff. Straight up booty. And along with that, I like to have like my M filter, bit crusher, and stuff like that coming from this MS60B. And all this is on the very first effects loop. So technically, I could build a small pedal board with just these four effects and get a ton of different sounds, like a massive amount of sounds. So, you could get a very nice synth bass sound just with that. And all that is the Poly Blue and the Zoom MX60B, right? So you take that stuff out the loop. It shows you guys pretty much kind of how I use the Key 9. Those are the primary two I use. I also use this Vibe one as well. But and the steel pan's okay too. So, but as you can see, with a click of a button, I just take all that stuff out. No problem. Let's see. Mel 9 I primarily use for like pads and stuff like that. If you watch some of my other videos, you'll hear the Mel 9 a ton. So I'm not going to go through that. The Rabbit Sitar. So, that's actually a pedal I want to use a lot more. You know, it's a little difficult to find uses for it, as every song doesn't require sitar. So then you have my vocoder pedal. I don't have the mic hooked up, so can't really do that. But that's actually at the end of that effects loop. So key 9, mel 9, sitar, and then vocoder pedal, and that's because these different sounds actually will change the sound of this vocoder. You know what? I think that'll be one of the next videos I do. I don't see too many V256 vocoder pedals. This is by Electro Harmonics. They're one of my favorite, of course. But as I have a whole effects loop dedicated to them. But yeah, it's an amazing pedal. One of the best I've seen. One of the most flexible vocoders I've seen. It's in pedal form at least. But yeah, next effects loop got the bass balls. Another one of my favorite pedals. We got the MXR Basic envelope filter. Yeah, so love that little pedal as well. Great analog bass pedal. And that's the Electro Harmonics Blurs, which is an amazing pedal. Um, so basically, what we've done so far um, in the pedal chain is have a way to bypass all these pedals or the majority of them, just in case on stage. One main benefit, in case anything not working, you just take it on out. If these four pedals, there's a problem in between, I ain't got time to figure it out, but I don't want to lose everything else. So I have these little, I think they're called T-Tone 3 effects loop pedal or something like that on Amazon. But they're worth it. They're about $40 each, and they can either work with no power supply or with a power supply. I use mine with a power supply because I need to see the LED lights. And when there's no power supply, the LED lights do not work. And I had this little eye stomp pedal for organ type sound. And that's actually a Leslie sound. Little hog 2 in there with the switch, and I can use tap tempo to control when the tremolo, changes speed. So I can take all that out in an instant, so put it in. Then we straight to the eating. Which needs the pots to be clean. Then we have, of course, MS50G, a lot of my pads, vocals, a lot of finishings, the finishing touches to my sounds. What's going on, bro? Add that. Yeesh. Let's add this, man. Another organ, Leslie pad type sound. Tap setting. So this is all the MS50G, and I also added the Hog 2 just for octaves, but so it's got a ton of delay and reverbs, plus guitar amps, all that stuff in there. Then the Spectra comp. Person, then of course, you know, looper pedal, then into the other pedals. But pretty much, you want to build as versatile of a pedal board as possible. Um, and of course, that's why we also use Velcro on the bottom. So when we want to swap them in and out, we can get them in and out. Nothing is actually permanent, even though I'm not moving none of this stuff anytime soon, because all these are my favorite pedals and the only ones need or want to have access to on every single gig. The vocoder pedal I use the least out of all these pedals, and I still keep it on my pedal board because certain songs, if I feel like it, or certain gigs, if I feel like it, I want my vocoder there. I want to be able to sing. I'm not a singer. I don't sound good singing, uh, you know, without the vocoder, But if you give me the vocoder, then I'm straight. Hey, what's going on? Good to see you in the house. Make you want to go back to them pad sounds. Get a ton of mileage out of these pedals, man. I'm trying to tell you. But yeah. So basically, you want to think of all your needs. Everybody doesn't need such an extensive setup as I use. You got to think about what your needs are. Take that into account. What sounds you want to aim for, and over time buy stuff. I didn't buy all this stuff at once. I wouldn't recommend buying all this stuff at once. Why would you? You're gonna be overwhelmed. So take your time over years, just collect, and as you see things you like, you grab it when you can, if you can. And if you can't, it's more important that you can play and actually sound good with just your bass and amp than anything. So, you know, don't feel pressured or don't feel like these are gonna change your life and like you're not they will change your life. I'm not gonna lie to you. They change your life a little bit. But I would say they don't I can't say they won't change your playing either. That's crazy too because you do have to play differently to use them. So I would say just focus on being musical with whatever tools you have available. Everybody don't have all this stuff, and before I had all this stuff, I was focused on just making sure I can really play the instrument. If you take away all this stuff and just give me my bass, it's still we still going ham. We still gonna have a good time. They still gonna dance. I'm still gonna sound good because it's not coming from magically from some pedals. It doesn't work that way. Um, it comes from me practicing, me being focused, and me zeroing in on the things I'm not good at and taking my time and working on them. And I've been doing this since I was 4, and I'm 33 now. I'll be 34 this year. This is actually my 30th year playing coming up. So, you know, don't tr- I didn't do it all in one day. Don't trust me. It didn't happen in one day. It all happened over a very extended amount of time over my entire life. So, um, don't feel like you need to go out and just keep buying stuff. It's more important that you seek out the knowledge of music and how to be as musical as possible more than buy trinkets and things that you think will somehow magically take you to this next level. It don't work that way. It just does not work that way. So um, take that into account. And, this has been another episode of All Bass Creations, Effects, Tutorials, Demos, and Review. I'm the bass, Negus. And I had a situation where somebody was trying to figure out how to pronounce my stage name. It's it's technically not pronounced Negus. I just the actual pronunciation. I don't want some people to get it wrong because I don't want to mishear. I don't want I don't want to get you wrong, but I know it's close to another word, but the actual meaning of the word is why I chose it. So it's me. That's me. So some I've I'm gonna say it for sure. I definitely appreciate you hanging out with him. We gotta talk. Hit me up. But yeah, it's a lifelong journey with the music thing in general. So like I said, just take your time, and you'd be surprised in a year how much progress you can make if you focus and you really hone in on the things you weren't good at. So um, part of me getting my technical ability was just me doing stuff real mad slow. But not just doing it slow. I'm focusing on my right hand technique, making sure I'm muting, playing cleanly, making sure my left hand wasn't flopping all over the place, fingers, trying to keep my hand as relaxed as possible, trying to use as less energy as possible to touch the string. So I didn't start going that fast. I started slowly. And everything you do, you want to do forwards and backwards. If you did, right? retrograde of that. So first one was, second one, the retrograde is. So, being able to do things forwards and backwards helps out tremendous because, one, it gives you possibilities on endless. If you could do everything forwards and backwards, it doubles all your options for everything, lines, everything. So me just being able to do that simple run forward, being able to manipulate the scale forwards and backwards will help you out tremendously. So, like, everything is kind of like very intentional, but you got to do it slowly first. Like I said, all these are just base tips. What's going on, sis? Hope you had a good day at work. Love you. But yeah, everything must be done slowly first and take some time, work your way up to speed and different things like that. Spent a lot of days in the basement before I had all these fancy lights and stuff in my workspace. I spent a lot of times with the one light bulb in the basement by the washing machine or the dryer or the water heater, and just whatever I get my hands on, to be honest, getting instruments from wherever I get my hands on. If I had to grab them out, I get them out to school. I used to get them from everywhere, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because my teachers really like me. They would let me have instruments or use instruments or old instruments they let me just simply have. But, it's not an overnight journey. I've been doing this since I was 4, like I said, and I'm be 34 this year, so, music is not for the lighthearted, I tell you that much. Nobody really cares, until you're good. Nobody cares until you're good. And trust me, you having the world's fanciest gear is not going to make that big of a difference for you. It's really not. So I definitely. So yeah, the best thing to do is just to really focus on your actual playing, not the bells and whistles. But when it comes to the bells and whistles, once you get to that level where, there is no particular level before you can get into effects, but or anything like that, or bells and whistles in particular. But if you're not spending more time focusing on your actual playing abilities and skills, all the extra stuff, I'm just gonna say it, man. You could put whipped cream on some boo boo, but it's still boo boo. It just got whipped cream on it, okay? But if you put whipped cream on some cake or a strawberry or something, something that's already delicious, then you got something, you're enhancing it. These are just enhancements. These are not replacements for my playing abilities or my ability to read music or my ability to hear and interpret things or my experiences as a musician. So um, I just want to make that clear because I be seeing a lot of people and they be thinking that that's going to save them. It ain't going to save you, Doc. It ain't going to save you. Don't save them. Y'all don't save them. None of y'all. None of you. OC5, you don't save them. Polly Blue, don't save them. None of y'all. I talk to my gear. I love my babies. But, yeah. So, it really is simply, I've been playing bass probably since, I think, about my 10th grade in high school. But I've been doing music overall since I was 4. And bass is actually the last instrument I learned out of 11. Um, so it's been a journey, man. It has not been easy. I've had to learn a ton of other things before I even touch this instrument that makes me be have these abilities on this particular instrument. It's not just playing this instrument either. So, maybe even invest in the keyboard. Maybe you don't buy all these pedals at once. You just get you a good multi-effects unit, Zoom B6 or MS60B if you want something small, and get you a nice keyboard, work on your piano, a little bit of piano so you can get into your music theory or, things like that. That's going to serve you far better than a ton of pedals. And I don't know. I love my pedals. And like, I can't imagine not having my pedals. It would have been sucked to live 100 years ago. Like, because my instrument didn't even exist. Is electric bass 100 years old? It might be 100 years old, but it just was coming to existence, if anything. But I don't even think electric bass is that old. Oh, I just started doing music at 4 because my dad did it as a hobby, but I always, I grew up in church, so pretty much the only thing you could do in church was preach or play music or sing on the choir. So, I just always did. Hold on, let me see. I just always sent. Let me see what's this here. Oh, you didn't want to get on, but no, I started playing drums. My parents bought me my first drum set around then, so that's when I started really playing. But I've been, I grew up. Me and my best friend growing up, played. We both played drums, but I branched off into other things because they wouldn't let me play drums at church. They let him play, but wouldn't let me play. That happens. But at the same time, what I didn't understand was while I was doing all that, learning all these different instruments and stuff, trying to just be able to play, it was actually helping me out a lot. So, so I'll give you a recap real quick. Um, I pretty much just started playing in church. I grew up wanting to play in church. Um, it wasn't really nothing else to do. You pretty like I said before in church. You gotta. I ain't had no choice if I was going. You going to church, bro? With my mother, you was going to church. So um, you could pretty much. um, I can actually. I did. I was on the usher board. I was on the usher board. I was on the usher board for a little bit. I did that. Good old sister, Ruby Flanoy. She just recently passed away, not too long ago. Hold on. Did she? Did she pass away? And somebody let me know. Somebody let me know if she did or not. Cause she was one of my favorite people. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, growing up in church, you could pretty much choose to be on the usher board, eventually be a deacon, or be a musician, or on a choir, or a preacher, pretty much. And I wanted to be a musician, so I've been a musician since I was 4, and just started playing drums on my own, listening to music. Oh, yes, okay. My sister just confirmed. Sister Ruby Flanoy is still here. Yes, that's amazing. That's good. That's one of my. She was so such an animated lady. Y'all would. She was such a person. If the internet had been around, like booming and popping when I was growing up, then like it is now. Um, yeah, I don't think she on the internet. She in her about what 70s now. Oh, she had greater. See, I'm gonna have to stop by and see her. Yeah, but yeah, man. She's a personality, great lady. Always nice, and tried to look out for people that was around her. So she's amazing. Yeah, she was a staple in DC, bro. Like you can't tell me nothing different. She was a staple in DC. Everybody probably know. She got a page. Okay, where on Facebook? Yeah, see, yeah, see, even the our elders got all the social media now. Yeah, Ruby Flanoy. So, but yeah, and I actually grew up listening to Who was in my church? Earl Machete, Corey Baker used to come through my church a lot. Yeah, I recently told him that he didn't really he didn't even remember. I was so young, he wouldn't have remembered that. Um, but yeah, they used to bring a lot of heavyweight musicians, gospel artists through my church when I was growing up, so that helped out a lot as well. Um, but yeah, so pretty much they wouldn't let me play though. So in order for me to find a way to play, I just kept learning different instruments. I figured you can't keep me off of everything, so bro, I ended up learning 11 instruments by the time I graduated high school. Okay, I know your your folks out of DC, right? Sorry, guy, I got multiple streams. I got like 3 streams going here, so I'm like talking to like different people. I got Twitch, Instagram, and Facebook rolling here. Me too. I seen you been doing your poetry as well. You've been getting out on flyers now, huh? Hmm. Uh, ah, I ain't even ready for that one yet. I don't know why I keep doing it. I don't know if you could share live to your story. You might be able to share it to another platform. I'm not sure. You might be able to share it to your stories. Love you too, sis. Take it easy. So there's a few different ways you can tap as well, you know, because this is a bass tips episode, you know. So So let's get back into it. So see what we're gonna talk about next. I would say, yeah, with the effects in terms of octavers, say you wanted to build a little small pedal board to get you started. Um, I guess the best way to try all these different type of effects is through a multi effects. That Zoom MS60B and Zoom B6, Zoom B3. Um, they have a good amount of variation of effects where you can see which effects you truly need to buy a separate pedal for, and which effects you can do with that's already on that multi effect. So you don't have to spend as much money. It'll be a lot easier, and you can keep it simple because you can go down a whole rabbit hole where you spending thousands of dollars buying pedals that pretty much all sound the same to the audience, at least. So at a certain point it gets redundant. When you can hear a massive change or something like this is how I judge if I'm a buy a pedal, me personally. How much different is this than all the other pedals I already have? Is this extremely different? Like the Key 9 is so much different than the Mel 9. And that's so much different than the V256 vocoder, and so much different than the sitar, so much different than the OC5, Hog 2, the Blurst, MS50G. Even though I have an MS60B, MS50G has completely different effects on it. So everything on here does something or sounds completely different or unique in its own way. That's how I do it. But you don't have to do that. You can have 50 of the same pedal if you want. Me, Zoom does a good job of handling my modulations. The modulations, I love them. I love their filter sections as well. They have good distortion sections, and those are pedals that I don't have to carry because I have them all on the multi effects pedal. So it'll help you out in the long run, not having to buy everything separately like that. And pedal board real estate is is precious now. You can't be giving up pedal board real estate for free. It's got to be worth it. Listen, this is the Terra 42 Terra. So I think this thing is like 42. It's the size of like a 61 key keyboard, basically. So and it's about the same weight as a Yamaha motif. So it's not a super heavy board, a pedal board at all, even though it looks heavy. It's not heavy at all. Um, but I would say just make sure that whatever you do, whatever you buy, you got enough space on your pedal board. Like, don't buy that little joint and you got 50 pedals that you want to carry, which you're going to be disappointed. Like, buy somewhere you can have a good amount of real estate and make sure you can spread them out evenly and they can look nice, because presentation is important with pedal boards and stuff like that. So, you want it to look nice and not look like you just threw a whole bunch of stuff on there. And if you don't know how to do any of that stuff, you might have to settle for whatever you can. But at the same time, where I would first spend my money would be on a multi effects. If I only could buy one thing, it would probably be. mm, I'm just gonna say it would be an MS60B. If I could only get one, it'd be that. No. Mm, it would probably be the B6. I wouldn't have on my filters and stuff, but it does have filters. It's the only thing where I could replace an entire pedal board ish. Not my pedal board, but a pedal board. you know, but it gives me the biggest variety of effects, plus my amp models and things like that, which are super important for me going in the studio or live settings in my IR. So I guess it would be the B6 if I could only, buy one of these things, which I'm so glad I have the ability to do otherwise. But runner up would be um, MS60B or the B3, but you can't buy the B3 no more, so the MS60B. Mm, and then past that, I mean, it's just seasoning. It's like, do you not want to have salt? Do you not want to have pepper? What about garlic, onion? Mm, you could live without one of those, but you probably want them. Like, you probably gonna want them in there somewhere. So, you know, like I said, it's not something you have to do all at once. It takes time to build the pedal board and the pedal collection that you're gonna really love, and it's really gonna be everything, single thing you need. I've had people. Let me get this out the way. Somebody asked me, is there an effect that mimics new strings? Yeah, it's called buying new strings. I'm just gonna say that. This bass tip, just change your strings, man. That is annoying. Like, you never change your strings, and then no, you gotta change your strings, bro. Like, if you're not getting the sound you want out of your bass, that's a good place to start. Um, a lot of people like me like brighter strings, with free slap. Diodaria Pro Stills are relatively cheap. They about $26 a pop. Change those once or twice a month, depending on your budget, and write it off at the end of the year as part of your living. If you're doing gigs and stuff, and claiming it on your taxes, you can just write it off. But yeah, go ahead, change your strings. It's all right. Um, I think what's my man Yannick Guazdala? He changes his. I think he said every gig, bro. That's that endorsement status. You gotta wait till they giving you strings for you to do stuff like that. I wouldn't recommend that on your own personal budget. I would stretch them out. Um, this Dunlop string cleaner is really good. You put that on when you first put your strings on. It then extend the life of your strings as well, because um, one, it's a lubricant, so your fingers, it helps condition your fingers tips a bit, so they slide a little better. But it also lets it slide around on the frets a little better because of being a lubricant. So you don't get as much of a harsh of a sound. So yeah. Also, I would say with the synth effects, or the octavers, you definitely want to pull your upper mid range forward, whether that be with the EQ or with your on your bass or a separate EQ pedal. So my first pedal in my chain is that effects loop into that OC5, but if you don't have an EQ on your bass, you may want to do an EQ first, or put something like the MS60B first, or even the Spectra comp first, something like that, and somewhere it's gonna accentuate your mid range and bring an additional clarity, so that low bottom frequencies, the lower frequencies aren't confusing the octaver, because that happens as well. You want to generally kind of cut your lows to get a good tracking octaver, and I do that for all of them, even the hog too. It sounds great, and all that, but you still gotta play correctly and do things the right way for it to sound good. Um, yeah, and even with the tracking of the key nine, mel nine, the electroharmonics pedals, you want to be a little bit mid forward, high upper mids forward. Definitely help you track a lot better. Um, and when I'm tracking, I mean when it's reading the pitches of your note. So as you're playing with an octaver, every note you play, it's figuring out what note that is, and then it's playing that back to you. To give you an example, so it's actually in real time reading what I'm doing there. Like it's interpreting that, oh, he's playing the E flat right here, and to give it the best chance and the fastest response with that, you want to be more mids forward. And that's even if you're playing fast, it just helps out a lot to have those mid, upper, upper mid frequencies, a little bit forward. Just tracks better. So that's all I got for you guys today. Those are the bass tips for today from All Bass Creations. And I'll holler at you guys next time. Of course, subscribe, like, and share, all that good stuff. Ask me any comments down below. Any questions you got, any topics you want me to cover on bass, just let me know down below. And I'll catch you guys next time. It's been another episode of All Bass Creations, Effects, Tutorials, Demos, and Review. Bass Tips Edition. Peace.